Alright the Reds, it's another walk in Reds. We're starting off at the same point as last time, which is the Herculaneum dock in Liverpool, Dingle, now known since 2008 as City Quay. This time I'm heading for Hope Street, where we're going to sit on the suitcases and record a preview for the Leicester-Liverpool game. So I'm now going up the Dockers steps, which links what was the Herculaneum dock to the streets of Dingle. Once upon a time, the dockers of Dingle would head down these steps to go to work, and apparently there was a little policeman in a box who made sure you were a docker and you weren't a scally coming down here to jump in the docks or whatever. Nice steps these. Apparently they were closed for a long time, then they were restored, I think around the time of the Garden Festival, 1984, as a route to the festival. So these streets are known locally as the Bread Streets, and this street, Ellswick Street, is where they filmed the TV series Bread. It was on telly from around 1986 to 1991. Carla Lane wrote the series, following a family called the Boswells, a fictional family. They renamed the street for the series, but everyone knew it was this street that they filmed it in. Once popular, look it up. So that magnificent looking building behind me there, a grade 2 listed building by the way, is the Florence Institute, also known as the Florrie. You may have heard us talking about the Florrie on the Anfield Wrap. One of our mates, Timo, works there, and you might have seen him on the video with Sadio Mane and Lee, King of the Dingle. It's a fantastic story and a fantastic building. It was built in the 1880s, one of the first boys clubs in the country. People used to go there to do boxing, basketball, football, learn to play musical instruments, started up bands. Jerry and the Pacemakers started there. Jerry Marsden was in a washboard band in there. It later sort of became a community centre, and then it sort of fell into disrepair and closed in the 1980s. There was a fire as well in the late 90s, which pretty much ripped out the place, and it looked like, you know, if we're all being honest, it looked like it was on its arse and it was game over. But this community, you know, got together, they loved the Florrie, they wanted it to be something special once more, and they wouldn't give in. They kept saying it should be saved. They appealed for all kinds of grants, they put the story out there, and they referenced quite rightly that this is one of the most deprived areas in the country and in Liverpool, so it needs every bit of help it can get. And thankfully it did get that help. It got National Lottery money, money from Europe, money locally, money from the Northwest Regional Development Fund, and eventually, I think it was to the tune of around 7 million quid, it got back on its feet, and it's open now. It was opened in 2012, and it does loads of brilliant work in the community. As I say, you've probably seen the film with Timo and Lee, but it does lots more than that. I mean, week by week, if you follow them on Twitter, you can see what they're up to. They're making packed lunch for people in the community and things like that. It's a fantastic place, and some fantastic people who work there. It was actually Prince Charles who reopened the Florrie as well. And what I would say about it is, like, you know, there's a huge fanfare about it being reopened. It was a fantastic story, it was widely covered, but you know, it's got to keep going. It's got costs, and like with everywhere else, you know, this is a tough time for it. So I know that they still need help, still need donations, they still need people to just donate food as well for people in this area. As I say, child poverty in this area is twice the national average, so I mean, that just gives you an indication of some of the issues in this area. So the Florrie needs every help it can get, so all the help it can get, I should say. So you can get involved, you can look on their website, you can make donations, and if you're more local, just drop some food off. I was never sure what that was about, that Park Palace ponies. I always saw it, walked past it, you know, seen the sign for it on Park Road as well, and thought, well, you know, what is it? What's it about? Well, finally took the time to have a look, and it's another great story. It was once a music hall in the 1880s. Again, a lot of history to it. Fell into disrepair. I think it was a factory of some sort at one point, but now it's, as the name is a bit of a giveaway, they've got some ponies there, and basically they're giving the opportunity to kids in the area, in the right circumstances of course, not COVID, to have a go on a pony. basically, you know, offering them an opportunity they might not normally get. And it's another one of them where it's sort of being born out of the love, born out of, you know, creating something for kids in the community. And another wonderful story about Dingle. On wonderful stories about Dingle, by the way, just I was stopped earlier on this walk by a bloke called Tate. He was absolutely sound. I had a big chat with him. Maybe we should do something on him sometime in better circumstances, but basically he runs a little sort of community stroke youth centre there. There's a little boxing ring in there and stuff like that, and some great fighters have sort of, you know, learned the craft in there, and it just looks like a house. You know, you could walk past it. In fact, I almost had walked past it when he collared me and asked me what I was doing. So again, you just get a sense that, you know, yes, as I say, it's got its challenges, this area, but there's so many good people here as well, and stories to tell as well. Problem with making these is that you could go all day. Got to decide what to put in and what to leave out and where to go and all the rest of it. I'm just passing the old Kane's brewery. I haven't got time to dive in there, to be honest, because I've got to get to go and do this preview show, which of course you should watch. But it's another part of town that if you've never been there, you should definitely visit. For so long it was nothing, and now it's full of new bars, new businesses, ghetto golf, all that kind of stuff. Loads of stuff to do and see in there in normal times. I've got to keep saying that, but it's another reason to visit Liverpool. It's another great part of Liverpool. Probably should say something about the Reds, shouldn't I? Leicester City away this weekend, 12:30 kick-off. All been a bit grim, hasn't it, to be a Red lately? We can't polish that one. I think it's 4 defeats in 6 now for the Reds. But look, they still played some decent football at times, bizarrely, and I still think they're more than capable of getting results. Leicester have lost 5 at home this season. Brendan Rodgers, our old mate, of course. So how will it all go? What will happen? How might they line up? All of those sorts of things. We'll be talking about that in the preview, so get on it. theanfieldwrap.com. Now this is definitely something you should try and do, and something you can do even in lockdown, which is walk through St James's Gardens. It's a bit of a hidden gem in Liverpool. It's just below the Anglican Cathedral, the magnificent Anglican Cathedral, and it's a lovely walk. It's really quiet, it's really peaceful. Once upon a time, you know, the main cemetery for Liverpool, not now, although of course all the headstones and everything are still here, and it's a little bit creepy and a little bit eerie, but also a lovely walk, and you just get a real sense of the cathedral as well. The cathedral's absolutely magnificent. Yeah, the cathedral never fails to take the breath away, really. I always used to come and visit with my nan at times and things like that as a kid, and you know, she always used to tell me a story. I'm sure many people have heard the story. It took over 70 years to build the cathedral. It's one of the biggest in the world. It's the biggest cathedral in Britain. It's among the top 5, I think, in Europe, and I think it's top 8 in terms of churches in the world. It's absolutely huge, and people worked on it all their lives. That's what my nan always used to say to me. She said, you know, they used to work on it. They started working on it, and some of them never saw it finished. It was their job to work on the cathedral, and they never got to see the end product. Well, the end product's absolutely magnificent, and it should go without saying that it's one of Liverpool's jewels in the crown. And if you're visiting the city, come and look at the cathedral, whether you're religious or not. I always love that slightly scary walk at the end of that walk through the gardens of the cathedral there, and so historic. And I know it might sound kind of morbid and a little bit weird, but there's something in it to look at the headstones and think about the history, and think about all the people who've lived in this city and the history of this city. Fantastic little pub, the Pilgrim. I love it. Been going in there for years, and really miss having a pint, don't we all? Imagine having a pint with your mates, and imagine having a crack with your mates. Imagine going around these pubs in the city centre like we have so many times before. Soon, as they say, soon. School of Art there is famously where John Lennon went, and some of the boozers around here are famously where he drank as well, ye crack, etc. So loads of Beatles history around this part of Liverpool as well. Just heading up to the Suitcases now. I can see the boys I'm a little bit late. Sorry, lads. Neil's just made that. Here's the late bastard noise. I'm alright with Brendan. I'm still alright with Brendan. There's loads of Brendan hate, isn't there?
There is. I think that the people who hate Brendan, like, did they not have a great time during 13-14? Because I know me and you had a great time during 13-14. And I do feel a bit like these were the people who all the way through were going, oh no, it can't happen and it's dead irresponsible and all of this. And somewhere in the horrible, dark, crabbed souls, they were almost pleased when it never, or the way in which it doesn't work, both Chelsea and Crystal Palace. You know what I mean? Like, it is this sort of weird... He was never going to be allowed, if you know what I mean, Brendan, one way or the other. I think it's a bit different now because he's gone to Celtic. He's done well at Leicester. I think people do think a little differently of him. And he's obviously changed and grown, and he's a different type of manager now. I think the really weird thing about his Leicester side is they're actually quite boring. They're nothing like our team was, you know, all the criticism. They're actually quite dull.
Yeah, he hasn't got the same resource. He would probably say, obviously. But I think one of the greatest, you know, testaments to him, the job he's done there, is since he's come in, only City and Liverpool have won more points in the Premier League than Leicester, which is a great stat, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, for Brendan at least. For us, maybe not, because it's 4 defeats and 6. They're doing all right. They've had their